For today's headlines, Malasakit sands the presidency. Lacson Sotto declare 2022 run. Lacson Sotto declare 2022 run. Duterte to Gordon explain PRC spending of government funds. 8 dead, 26 still missing in Jolina trail. PCCI reversal reckless. And Duterte sorry for 4 Chinese in shabu. Good morning, I am Vernon Velasco and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Today is September 9 and here are the latest news of this morning. Grateful to his party ruling PDP Laban for its trust and support, Senator Christopher Bongo has repeated, hours after the party's National Assembly on 8 September, that his disinterest in the presidency stands. According to Go, his heart is set on serving the people without an intent to run for the country's highest office. Go instead urged his fellows in the party to support people who are keen on running and share Duterte's political will to continue the change he has already begun. What's important, Go said, is to find President Duterte's equal to carry on with the change he espoused. Go had already respectfully declined the party's endorsement through a letter he had sent earlier and said he appealed to party members to respect his decision. According to Go, this was also the reason he decided not to attend the meeting because it might be tainted with me. Despite declining the endorsement, Go reiterated that the party will continue to have his full support. Go also assured that he will continue to serve the Filipino people. Go also urged his fellow Filipinos to continue supporting President Duterte, who remains determined to lead the country in overcoming the crisis. He reiterated that he leaves his faith to God, the Dutertes, and the Filipino people, to whom he owes the privilege of being able to serve the country. Delayed for weeks, Senator Panfilo Lacson and Vicente Tito Sotto on Wednesday launched their bids for the presidency and vice presidency, respectively, for the May 2022 elections under the resuscitated Reforma Party. The surge in COVID-19 victims due to its Delta variant postponed the earlier planned launch of the Reforma ticket last month. Lacson-Sotto tandem was officially introduced via a pre-taped show attended by the lawmakers, supporters, and families. Their party mates and other supporters were present virtually. While the lawmakers vowed to restore order and corruption and regain the trust of Filipinos in the government amid the ripple of ill effects the coronavirus pandemic has inflicted in the country's economy. Sotto, for his part, declared that it is time to unite and change the system as he walked up the stage with the People Power Revolution's iconic anthem Magkaisa playing in the background. He composed that song. Lacson, meanwhile, touted the 80 years of leadership between him and Sotto and stressed that their competence, integrity, and courage make them viable candidates for the country's highest post. According to Lacson, it is a great challenge, but they need to restore the trust of the people in the government, the leaders of the country. President Rodrigo Duterte demanded the Philippine Red Cross, led by Senator Richard Gordon, to submit its financial statements to the executive branch, saying the organization should be audited by the government since it used public funds. The president asked Gordon to heed his call for an independent audit of the organization as he assailed the lawmaker anew for probing the administration's pandemic response supply. Duterte said they need to review the government funds they have been giving Gordon for years, copies of the audit so they can go over it and compare it with the copies of the audit made by the Commission on Audit. However, the COA had previously said it has no jurisdiction to audit the PRC, which is a non-profit humanitarian organization. The president, meanwhile, said the audit was needed so government officials can find out whether Gordon, who has been leading the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee's inquiry on the use of the COVID-19 response budget, has been faithful to the country and the PRC. Duterte said that if the Red Cross is receiving money from the government and the Republic of the Philippines, it is then subject to an audit. Duterte noted that the organization has been receiving financial support from PAGCOR, a government-owned and controlled corporation under the office of the president. Tribune News and we will be back after a short break. Meanwhile, 8 persons were reported dead, at least 4 more were injured, and 26 remain missing in incidents amid tropical storm Jolina. Incidents caused by the storm, formerly a typhoon, also left at least 3,673 houses and damaged or destroyed, and more than 301.7 million peso worth of damage to farms, fisheries, and infrastructure. Preliminary data from disaster agencies showed Wednesday evening. Of the reported fatalities, 4 were fishermen brought by strong waves near the shores of Santo Niño, Samar. 50 other fishermen from different towns and cities of Eastern Visayas were rescued in waters around the island town. Another fisherman suffered a head injury and drowned when his boat sank off Buenavista, Marinduque. In Masbate province, the 2 persons drowned in swollen rivers in Kawayan and Placer towns, but local authorities have yet to check if the incident are related to Jolina, the Office of Civil Defense Bicol said in an email report. Another fatality was reported in Barangay Dayap, Itaas of Laurel, Batangas, where a landslide hit part of a popular private development area. Validation is ongoing to determine if the storm really caused the landslide at Twin Lakes, a usual destination of Sunday drivers who want to view Taal volcano and its surrounding lake. Back in Masbate, 4 persons were reported injured in Balud, Mobo, and POV Corpus towns. 14 persons remain missing in that province, including 8 members of a family in Balud, 5 males in Kawayan, and a fisherman from San Jacinto, the OCD Bicol said. 9 are still listed as missing in Eastern Visayas, including 6 fishermen from Catbalogan City, whose companions were among those found alive in Santo Niño, Samar, and 3 persons from Biliran. 3 other fishermen who are companions of one who died in a boat mishap off Marinduque are also missing. Data from the OCD Eastern Visayas show that Jolina, while still a typhoon, destroyed 102 houses, damaged 2,664 more, and left 179.56 million peso worth of damage to rice crops in the region alone. Masbate has at least 190 destroyed and 698 damaged houses, and 104.96 million peso worth of damage to infrastructure after Jolina hit it at the category of a severe tropical storm, according to the OCD Bicol. Some 16.54 million worth of damage to agriculture and fisheries were initially tallied in the region, it said. Part of Calabarzon, meanwhile, particularly in Batangas and Laguna, experienced floods as Jolina dumped rains in the region from Tuesday night to most of Wednesday. Over 5,300 persons, mostly in Quezon, were preemptively evacuated in the region. Meanwhile, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the country's largest business organization, chastised the government on Wednesday over its topsy-turvy handling of the quarantine rules on which trade operations are largely dependent. Acting PCCI President Lacson questioned the sudden withdrawal of the general community quarantine with alert level scheme just hours before its implementation. President Rodrigo Duterte reverted to the modified enhanced community quarantine, a strict form of a lockdown, on Tuesday night instead of using a new granular approach where zone lockdowns are left with the local government units to decide on. Lacson said that authorities must be prudent in prematurely announcing half-studied policies or policy shifts because it has a tremendous impact on business operations and people's daily lives. Indoor and alfresco dining services, personal care services including beauty salons, beauty parlors, and nail spas will remain closed as MECQ is extended in the National Capital Region until September 15. The pilot GCQ with alert level scheme is expected to be implemented after that. Lacson noted that most restaurants and shops have stocked up for reopening, but were turned back by the MECQ extension. Lacson said that there is a huge financial cost on business enterprises when plans and preparations are dislocated by the last-minute cancellation or postponement of the anticipated relaxation of the quarantine protocols. Authorities must be careful in recklessly raising public expectation that will not be matched by the outcome. There is also a risk, and it might be cause disappointment, followed by frustration, and could trigger deep depression and despair, he added. President Rodrigo Duterte has declared that he won't help overseas workers facing legal troubles abroad due to illegal drugs. He made such a declaration as he apologized for the deaths of 4 Chinese individuals who died in a recent buy-bust operation in Zambales. He warned Filipinos that if they have been involved in illegal drugs outside the country, he won't meddle with it even if they say that they are facing executions. He said they'll simply tell the ambassador to do his thing, whatever he wants to do. In the same speech, the firebrand Philippine leader, whose bloody anti-drug campaign gained notoriety here and abroad, and said he was sorry that 4 Chinese nationals suspected to be part of a big-time drug syndicate were killed by anti-narcotics operatives in Candelaria town on Tuesday morning. The suspects were identified as Gao Manju, Hong Jianxi, Eddie Tan, and Xu Yuha. Law enforcers, according to Duterte, had to kill the armed Chinese nationals to protect themselves during the anti-drug operation, where operatives seized 3.4 billion peso worth of shabu, seen as the country's biggest drug haul this year. The president then commended the Philippine National Police, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, and Bureau of Customs for the joint Bus operation and for another drug sting in Bataan, where 3 other Chinese suspects were arrested, leading to the seizure of some 80 kilograms of shabu worth 544 million pesos. The anti-drug operation was a result of long surveillance on Su, tagged as among the key players of illegal drug activities in the country. And that wraps up the stories this morning. But before we go, we would like to thank the SM Store, the Department of Tourism, Araneta Center, MG Motor, Ina Motors, Security Bank, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Vernon Velasco, and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website tribune.net.ph and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, TribuneNow. The Daily Tribune is one with the nation in facing the COVID-19 crisis, and in line with this, the Daily Tribune digital edition and press reader is now available for free online. You can also download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS users and Google Play for Android users to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune is also inviting everyone to join its community Viber Katribu to get updates on the freshest and hottest news and entertainment stories of the day. Tarcito emoticons are also available on our community Viber. Just click on the link in this video to join.